magic makers, and welcome. This is Lisa McCardle, your inner wisdom awakener and your consciousness expander. I'm coming today to talk about what is happening here. I was asked to explain a little bit more about the 3D versus the 5D and what it actually means and what we can expect, and kind of come in to try and explain a little bit about what we're experiencing here as humanity is going through something that is really unfamiliar. So let's all just take a nice deep breath. And if you like what's happening here, please like, share, and subscribe. You can comment beneath the videos below. And if you subscribe, please click the bell, because then you'll get alerts for when the next video is coming. And wanted to talk today about what is happening, what is the 3D and what is the 5D, and what are some signs and symptoms that you might be experiencing if you are having a move through consciousness, as we all are. So what's happening here, and what are some ways of which it takes effect, or you might have the experience in your own physical body. So 3D is a dimension. It's a vibrational frequency. It's a place we've been operating from for probably forever as far as humanity is concerned. And when we talk about moving into the fifth dimension, into 5D or 4D or 5D, dimensions are actually vibrations. So we're talking about vibrational shifts that affect all of humanity and everything that is alive on this planet, which is everything, really. And, you know, we can get into resonance and the hertz of the vibrations of the planet and how that's changing. But what I really want to talk about is that we've been going through this awakening. You know, there's a lot of buzzwords about the awakening of consciousness out there, but what does it really mean? So we've been going through this awakening process, and each of us collectively, collaboratively, all of us who have chosen to be here at this time came here to help with the ascension, the activation, and the awakening of the consciousness of humanity. There's no mistakes. Our children come of a very high vibration. They came in as star seeds, most of them, and I will have to explain that in a separate video. But they came in as star seeds, most of them, and they're here to help us, really to escort us. So they come with a much higher light frequency than many of us have held. And I'm seeing that the younger, like each generation down, comes with a higher frequency. So that's why a lot of our children are experiencing a lot of anxiety and a lot of, it hasn't been so easy for a lot of them, because they come from a higher vibration to a planet that's still holding a lower vibration, right? So it's like a fish out of water is what I want to say. It's like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. So they're here to help us elevate our frequency, to help us move into the fifth dimension, which is a much higher vibration. And they've graciously come in this like lower frequency to help us. And I do believe that part of what we're experiencing globally here and now is part of our awakening. It's part of our ascension. It's part of a transformation from a third dimensional perspective into a fifth dimensional perspective. So what does that mean? 3D, it's a lot of what we've experienced in humanity over hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years. Okay, it's a lot about feeling separation. It's a lot about feeling lack, like there's not enough. This struggle to get to more, this sensation of separation from each other, of, fighting over religion or beliefs or whatever we perceive that alienates another human from us, because we perceive them to be different and separate from us, which is honestly the building blocks and the foundations of so much of our institutions. So much has been built upon the lens of this 3D. As we move into a fifth dimensional consciousness, we're moving into a higher vibration. And in the higher vibration, we get to see ourselves not as separate, but as unified. We get to see ourselves not as separate from each other, but as one. Literally, our cells split and reproduce and create, and our hearts beat the same and our blood flows in the same. The mechanism of the human being is an identical replication from one to the other. And this illusion of separation, that's what's crumbling. We have a global experience happening here where people get to unify. It's not that there's something tragic or unknown happening in one location, which we're all like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for the people over there. Or, wow, we just got hit with this. This is a global reorganization, my friends. And a lot of the systems that were set up in the 3D, right? A lot of our fundamental systems, their edges of them are being pushed. We have our economic system. Here in the United States, we have our healthcare systems. We have our education systems. We have our incarceration systems, and those haven't even been talked about. Like, what's happening in there? I mean, we have so many systems, right, that have been created so much out of this 3D lens of separation, of greed, right? Not of a unification of like, let's create something that helps the collective to rise together, but let's create something that helps me or them or this little pod to rise without concern or care for the effect on the planet or on the other humans that weren't fortunate enough to be, to choose to be born in this place or to have the means to invest in the thing. So I really feel like as we're moving into this reorganization, into this new order, right? This new world, we're becoming new humans. And having this opportunity for much of the world to kind of slow down and new systems, like this is the great reveal. This is where we get to see a lot of systems, the fundamental truth of what a lot of systems are operating on. And there will be reorganization as a result to it. And there might be some collapse. We are witnessing a paradigm shift. And the systems that were created in the order of the old, of the 3D lens, they are going to need to reorganize in order for the consciousness of humanity to rise to the next level. That's why we're here. So I know it's scary, but it's also necessary. In a lot of my channels, I've been told that the support that we need from the Light Council, who comes from other star seed galaxies, they're assuring me that they are here to help us and that we are going through a necessary reorganization. And the way we get there is through surrender. It's through connection with each other from our hearts. And it's from collapsing the spectrum of fear that we have been operating through for far too long. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the easiest thing, nor is it like a snap of the finger. It takes diligence. It takes a willingness. It takes almost a tenacity to be so complete and so done with how uncomfortable fear and separation and alienation and lack feels that you will accept nothing else other than to surrender and transform. And it starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with us. Navigating back, coming back to how can we come into a greater frequency of love? How can we trust that something bigger than anything we've ever begun to understand is happening through us? And what if we agreed to this experience and that's why we're here? Your light, your love, your willingness to surrender, to allow and to trust, to go inside, to find what brings you joy, to shift your own consciousness and allow the vibration of your own being to move to its highest level. That's what's in order. here for you to help the order of everything that is become new. So here's some signs and symptoms of what it is that you might be experiencing as we shift this matrix and move into a new dimension of consciousness. Heart palpitations. People are experiencing heart palpitations. A lot of these things, as I go through them, you're going to say, oh, Lisa, those are signs of anxiety. Could be. And yes, there's a lot of anxiety up in the field, but they're also symptoms of a reorganization on a cellular level of some new things waking up through you. So just to prepare you, if you're having these sensations, yes, you could check your anxiety, but it could also be that you're having direct response to a new vibrational frequency that is coming in and that is activating through you. So allow space for it. Dizziness, feeling off center, a little woozy. You can't quite find your grounding and you can't equate it to anything else. Almost destabilizing. A ringing in the ears. These symptoms have been happening for a really long time. We have all been going through this ascension and awakening process for quite some time. It's just that they're massively accelerating right now. So what you might notice is that the ringing in the ears has accelerated. It's gotten stronger. It's coming more frequently and more and more and more. It's a little essential oils. And for me, I mean, it's happening 6-7 times a day. It's like this ringing and it comes in different ears. And I know it's a download. I know it's a reorganization. Some people are experiencing stomach pain, stomach aches, headaches, a lot of headaches coming up, and not responding to normal things or things that they normally respond to. So make sure your water's really up, well hydrated. And I keep getting that there's some reorganization literally within the cellular makeup of our brain. So keep focused on your pineal gland. I just shot a video. It'll be just before or after this one that gives you the tools for how to navigate these ascension symptoms. A sensation of feeling out of body, almost disconnecting, almost like elevating up and out of your body. It's important that you stay grounded, that you stay present, and that you just anchor your energy down into the earth if you feel that floating, almost disassociating kind of sensation. It's part of the awakening experience. Fatigue and either like heavy fatigue where you're like so tired. Like, oh my goodness, I just have to go lay down. Go lay down. Or bursts of energy that just seem to come out of nowhere. It's like a recalibration of the system is happening. Body vibrating. This has been happening a lot, like literally like feeling like the earth is shaking beneath you or your hands, or there's a vibration sequence that's happening. Let it move through. Let it move. It's how the body's reorganizing itself. It's how the cells are reorganizing itself. It's how greater energy is literally frequencing through your system. Trouble sleeping. Lots of that happening. See if there's a time frame that you're waking up. My window's 3 to 5. And it's like awake, and not just like tossing and turning, like awake. And so I'm like, okay, what do you got for me? What do I need to know? What can I focus on? I often will go into prayer, just run light through my body and ask if there's messages or a greater understanding that I need to know. And then finally, a lot of prophetic dreams. So your dreams are amplified. So these are 10 things that you can look for as you are experiencing ascension and you are moving from the third dimension into the 5th dimension, which is a higher consciousness for humanity. We all agreed to it. The time is now. I know this is uncomfortable, but this too shall pass. And everything in my body and my heart and my wisdom and through the channeled information that's coming tells me that we will be better off for it. Just stick to your course, know love, and let your body transition.